So let me set some stuff up, and then we'll talk to you guys about LA, and then bring folks in. So this is the seventh day when there have been or fifth day when there have been demonstrations. We expect some Marines to arrive later today. Moments ago, the New Washington Post headline, please, Sam. A federal judge issued a temporarily denied California's request to block the National Guard troops and Marines heading to Los Angeles from enforcing immigration and local law there. And that's, of course, the crux of a lot of this dispute. Gentlemen, I've been thinking a lot about a woman we had on the morning meeting today who said basically, and I'm paraphrasing her, of course, there's so much focus on the conflict and the personalities. Shouldn't we be talking about like these fundamental issues of, are we deporting 20 million people? What kind of due process do those 20 million people get? What's the proper role for the National Guard? And I listened to a lot of media today, and of course, there's just this obsessive focus on Trump versus the governor, Governor Newsom. And I got an email blast from Governor Newsom today. I don't know if it's a fundraising, but from his political committee, sort of updating on his battle with the president. And it really is just crazy. Not surprising, unfortunately, how much the focus is on the personal. And Professor, you've been very outspoken and vocal, I should say, on saying these two guys have to work together. Explain the danger of political violence if they continue to be at odds. What's the cycle you're concerned about?
Well, there are dangers here for our country as a whole, and there's dangers for each party going forward. So for the country as a whole, we are going through the era I call the era of violent populism. For the last 5 years, we have seen historically high political violence on both the right and the left. And when I mean historically high, you have to go back to the 1960s to see anything like the violent protests we've seen on the left. We have to go back to the 1960s to see assassinations of figures on the left. Basically, what you are seeing is, and of course, we have the Trump assassination attempts. What we are seeing is a 50-year plus historically high period of political violence. It's a mistake to keep focusing on blaming the other side. And a lot of that is due to the fact that there is significant support for political violence inside the body politic. That is about 20% of Americans here, sometimes 25% actually do, Mark, support political violence. And that is really an unfortunate fact because it creates incentives for politicians to believe that they can run to that group. And this can happen on both sides, and I believe is happening on both sides. But there are big, big problems with this going forward. It means our next election in 2026 may be even more violent than we have had. Each of the 3 elections has been increasingly violent, and we don't want to settle these elections by assassinating our political leaders, but that is where we are heading. Also, it means we are corroding the body politic, where we are finding it more and more acceptable to have political violence in our country. And that is, of course, increasing the risks of actual violence. The risks of the two parties, for Democrats, the risk is that they are becoming the party of the lawless. And this is something that can't possibly be good as they try to reach out to the middle of America. The risk for Donald Trump and the Republicans is this will escalate in unexpected ways. And if you find yourself with the National Guard actually shooting citizens on the streets, this is not necessarily, to say the least, going to work in the president's advantage. So there are risks across the board. We're a tinderbox of a country, and it's terribly important that, as I said, both sides take the temperature down.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.